560. The Answer.
I am embarrassed for Chuck Schumer. He is going out of his way to please the likes of Zohran Mamdani, a man who is polarizing America with his socialist rhetoric and anti-American principles. The very essence of government responsibility is to the citizens who live and work here to protect their interests first, unless you are a Democrat.
She's right.
Day one of USDA, February 13th, is we sent letters to every governor in America being very clear that no illegal aliens can use SNAP. 0, 0, 0. We asked every state for the first time in history, and this was in February, to send us their data and let us, with DOJ and a war room, actually start going through this data to better understand how this explosion of SNAP benefits happened under Joe Biden. We increased almost 40% on this program in just a couple of years under the Biden administration. Of course, we know they were trying to buy the election, but that's a conversation for another time. And since we have asked for that data, 29 states have complied. Of course, almost all the red states, a couple of couple blue states too. But in that data, and I haven't talked about this yet publicly, in that data we've studied about $100 billion in spend. We have found thousands and thousands of illegal use of the EBT card. We have been moving people off of SNAP. We've got almost 700,000 people, I think, we've moved off just since the president took office. We've arrested about 118 people. So this has been ongoing. But, Rachel, to your point, what this conversation has allowed is a national spotlight on a broken and corrupt program. We found one guy in 6 different states getting a benefit. We found about 5,000 people that are dead who are still getting benefits. Like, it is time to drastically reform this program.
Massively expanded under Biden, but it also massively expanded under Obama, like Obamacare. You know, I get a lot of consternation would be a good word about my inability to just support party members. And when we talk about Obamacare and we talk about that now for a family of 4 would be considered a Cadillac plan. It's $3,700 a month. This all could have been stopped, except for a Republican who ran for president on not allowing Obamacare to pass. That's the kind of Republican that, to me, is worse than a Democrat. That's a fraud. John McCain, Adam Kinzinger, Joe Walsh, establishment whore scum Republicans who want to play pinochle with Democrats like Schmuck Schumer. They're worse than Schmuck Schumer. Worse. John McCain ran a presidency. Think about this. He paid advertising all around radio stations and TV, bought it. Right, we're going to advertise. John McCain, going to fight Obama. And when push came to shove, single-handedly, John McCain is the reason we still have Obamacare. It makes me think. What about all those people that believed in John McCain when he advertised? What about all those constituents? All those people who bit the bullet? Yeah, you know what? I'm really voting for Sarah Palin, but I'm going to vote for John McCain. John McCain did more for Obamacare than any other Republican senator since Barack Obama was laid on his ghetto Bentley.
But 15 years ago, I signed the Affordable Care Act into law.
That's it.
The goal back then was to establish that here in America, healthcare is not just a privilege, but a right.
It absolutely is not a right. Not only that, if I'm going to pay for your useless, drug addict, degenerate, gambling scum life, then you're not going to be a fat pig. So no on the food stamps. Now you live like a decent person or you get nothing. Eric Marengo.
Hey, Sean, I just want to tell you, great show, great guest like always. I wanted to go into this Germany lithium mine, but I got to say, maybe the people thought they were voting for John McCain, you know?
Oh, yeah, maybe it was that thing. But, you know, it's a funny thing. Before you talk about the lithium, most people don't understand about the German company BASF. I want you to hang on one second.
Welcome to BASF in Ludwigshafen, Germany. Situated on the Rhine River, it is home to the world's largest integrated chemical complex. Founded in 1865 as a synthetic dyes factory, BASF has developed into one of the world's leading chemical companies. Countless discoveries that have changed the world and shaped our daily lives have their roots in Ludwigshafen. Around 39,000 employees, 1/3 of BASF's employees around the world, work at the site. Thousands of products for customers from almost all industries are manufactured in 200 production plants. Nearly 3,000 kilometers of pipelines, 106 kilometers of roads, and 230 kilometers of rails connect.
Now, do you know that when Donald Trump was president, before the election was stolen in 2020, they were paying less than 1/3 of what they pay right now for gas and oil? And that one company uses more gas than the entire country of Switzerland. That one company. And that one company employs tens of thousands of Germans, but is responsible for the bulk of their GDP. And now, because of Joe Biden and his destruction and his creation of following through on Barack Obama's war in the former Soviet Union, they now pay 4 times, and they can only buy it from us. That seems like something worth looking at, doesn't it?
Yeah, so can Trump get in on that? And all I'm talking about is decoupling from China. Like
Well, you have to pick your allies, right? And you have to pick your goals for the future and for the economy. In my opinion, if you want to reprivatize American business and go back to American capitalism, you have to do it because you have policies where you have good relationships with foreign governments and foreign trade, and you go back to a certain laissez-faire. Although I'm not against using weapons, economic weapons, to assure that. But I think we have to recalibrate our alliance, because when you realize what Joe Biden did, that corrupt money laundering scheme of the former Soviet Union war, why do you think he would tap Penny Pritzker to rebuild? There's $200 billion missing that we don't know. That Zelensky hasn't been elected for 7 years. So you want to talk about the corruption, you have to go back to Obama, because that's who cultivated it. And Joe Biden followed through. Now, I don't believe, he knew it, but he still confessed to a crime.
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do that.
So when he did that, when he blew Nord Stream 2, when the American government blew Nord Stream 2, Europe, but Germany specifically, in that one company, saw an increase of 300% of energy costs, like being in Illinois on Halloween. Go ahead.
Let me ask you, though.
Yeah.
Do you think we can decouple from China and start making things here in every other country and starve them out? I mean, do you think
here's the question you asked has the assumption that we're coupled. We're coupled by consumption. We're not coupled by necessity. It's easy to uncouple. And what you see Donald Trump do in 9 months is already recalibrate that. And I'm going to tell you something right now. You want to know what I think? I think after this last trip, this very successful trip, there is a possibility of being aligned with China and Russia. There really is. That's what the difference between Donald Trump and Democrats. See, Joe Biden couldn't meet with anybody because he had soiled his trousers, but Barack Obama didn't meet with anybody.
Work together, right?
But the difference is Donald Trump's a man, and he wants to sit down. You got a problem with Xi Jinping? I'll go sit down with him. You got a problem with the North Korean dictator? I'll go sit down with him. You got a problem with Putin? I'll go sit down with him. But Barack Obama, the squish, and Joe Biden, what'd they ever do? They're not men. They're Democrats. 312-642-5600.
Marxists, socialists, and communists are not welcome on the Sean Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.